Tales from afar, stories to burn, dodgy old geezers and lessons to learn. From Alfred to Jerry, the scamps and the graft, they're spilling the beans and having a laugh. Mark, Annie and Pete, they're talking manor for you. Old school charm and a pint or two. So press play now, don't miss a treat. You'll love the stories, put it on the slate. Tales galore and so much more. So listen now with her indoors.
Hello there, I'm Pete.
I'm Andy,
And I'm Mark.
and you're listening to Minder on the Slate. Hello, and welcome back to Minder on the Slate, our podcast dedicated to all things Minder. We've gone back to the very beginning of this iconic show, and each week we are rewatching, reviewing, and rating a classic episode. What episode are we discussing today, Pete?
Well, tonight, Andy, we are talking about Series 1, Episode 4, A Tethered Goat.
A Tethered Goat was written by Murray Smith and was directed by James Gatwood. It originally aired on Monday, the 12th of November, 1979 at 9 o'clock.
Along with our regulars, George Cole and Dennis Waterman, guest stars this week are Lee Montague, Kenneth Griffith, and Mr. Bronson from Grange Hill as a right wrong 'un. So, Mark, give us an idea what A Tethered Goat is all about.
Well, Terry is asked to mind a Lebanese businessman, Bassam Sayin, and while Arthur sees this as a money-making opportunity, Terry is sure everything is not quite as it seems.
Well, hello once again. I hope you're all enjoying rewatching these as much as we are. If you're new to the podcast, then welcome. You can catch up anytime. All the episodes we've watched so far are available on ITVX and uncut on YouTube. So please join in and let us know what you think. So I think a good place to start today Pete, is by telling everyone how you describe this episode on our WhatsApp group.
Okay, so I described this as sort of being professionals-esque, by which I mean it touches on sort of themes and moments that wouldn't be that out of place in an episode of The Professionals. In terms of shady Middle Eastern businessmen and government officials and assassins and so forth. I mean, we even have machine guns. I don't know, it'd be interesting to see whether we see any other machine guns in any other episode of Minder as we do the podcast.
From memory, probably not, but you never know.
Dave keeps one behind the bar.
Yeah, I think we all know what you mean by the professionals thing. I mean, maybe to the teenagers watching on TikTok or whatever, I don't even, we're probably not even on TikTok, are we? But if we were, Professionals was, it was kind of a grittier it was kind of ITV's version of Starsky and Hutch, but with more sort of, I think that's how it started, wasn't it? It was, and it was sort of they were MI5, but it was called CI5, and it was kind of, it had its comedy moments, but it was a lot grittier, and this episode is fairly gritty, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Mark,
that's what comes through. It is gritty. There's not as much humour in this one as we've seen in previous episodes. I think it's sort of initial thoughts. Well, I think it probably gets better the more you watch it. There are some great moments. My instinct is that I really like the last 10 minutes, but it's not my favourite episode from watching it.
Okay.
Initially.
Interesting.
But again, as we go through the episode and discuss it, by the end, I'll probably love it and give it a massive score. But my instinct at this moment is not one of my favourites. There are some really great bits in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it gets better the more you watch it in many ways. I think initially I thought I was going to say that it's not, like maybe the writer kind of didn't quite get the Minder idea. But the more I think about it, I think he probably, with a brief of what Minder was supposed to be like, I think he probably smashed it, like that, that mix of, and I think it's a fantastic script when I've actually found a site where it's written out, and it's a fantastic script. So I think it's quite interesting. It's got a few missteps, I think, along the way, isn't it? That's not quite right, but I still think
he's got a good track record, isn't he? As a writer, I mean, he did those sort of classic shows like the Sweeney, Dempsey and Makepeace, that sort of thing. And he wrote Bullman, which is,
Yeah.
you know,
So
it's a great
do you
mid-80s
remember
show.
that? Do you remember Bullman, Pete?
I don't really remember any of the things that we talk about on this podcast
Yeah.
or outside of the podcast, but I'm aware of it. Is that Don Henderson?
Yes.
Yeah. So he did a
Was it
lot
a
of work with
spin-off?
Don. So there was 3, wasn't there? I think there was 3 shows where Don Henderson played Bullman, and the final one was actually Bullman. But I think and then he wrote the Paradise Club as well with Don Henderson and Leslie Grantham.
Yes.
I
And
remember it being very popular, Bullman, at the time. I don't think I watched it very much, but I remember people at school really liking it and it getting
yeah,
a lot of
I remember
praise.
watching it, but I don't remember much about it.
And then when everyone went back and watched Star Wars, they'd go, "That's
It's
Bullman."
Bullman. Exactly. Yes.
I think what you said there, Andy, about the writer had been given a brief, and actually, according to the brief, as it was then, before maybe things had evolved as they did, he probably did get it right in that it was meant to be gritty, a comedy drama as a vehicle for Dennis Waterman. I mean, at one
Yeah.
point, we have an action shot of Dennis Waterman
Yeah.
running down the street, and it's dead center. It's
Yeah.
like it's like a Die Hard film or something.
Yeah.
Well, it always reminds me of Train Spotting. It reminds me of Renton, and I'm expecting to hear Lust for Life come on in the background, and he's really going for it. And he, to be fair, and then say this with 100% record of heterosexuality, he looks magnificent, doesn't he? He does look magnificent running down that road.
In comparison to Nadim Sawala, who looks absolutely ridiculous. It looks like he's never run in his life before. He's like this. It doesn't look completely ridiculous. But anyway.
I know we're jumping to the end, but I've got a few questions about that scene, but we'll get to it.
Oh, okay. So to start with, we join Terry in the boxing gym, which is the first sort of time we see him boxing, don't we? And he's still a bit tasty, according to Arthur's friend.
And he's helping out, isn't he? He's there. He's there as a volunteer. He's helping out the young disadvantaged kids, and just it's the local youth centre, and he's there giving it, or boxing centre, and he's giving them some free coaching and generally helping out with the great chap that he is.
Yeah. I think it sets his character up nicely that he's got a good heart, which I guess that's the point of that scene, isn't it?
And Arthur distracts him when he gets a big wallop round the chin. So again, Terry's being really kind and nice. Arthur comes in and ruins it, and he gets a whack as a result of it.
Yeah, he does.
Arthur's friend, what do you know about him, the actor?
He was in the Sweeney a bit, wasn't he?
Almost definitely in the Sweeney, but I can't remember which episode, but I imagine he was.
I thought he was in the films as well. I think.
He's in the second one. I think he bumps into Regan outside of court.
Yeah.
Johnny Shannon, he always plays wrong uns. And he's in an episode of The Professionals, but his voice is dubbed. And you made me think with your theory from last week, Mark, whether or not it's an actor of note who's dubbed his accent. And it's very strange to watch because he's got a very distinctive voice. I get the impression he was probably, as is the case with a lot of these people, had probably walked a little bit on the wrong side of the law before making the jump into. Yeah, I'd be amazed if he wasn't in some way connected to Johnny Bindon. I came across something on a website. It was like Portraits of Hackney or something, and I'm sure it was a photo of him. Presumably, he might even still be around. I've got a feeling he isn't, but I don't think it's. I think I had to do a bit of digging on it recently. Anyway, so yes, he's Arthur's friend, who's going to pick up his daughter. Did you recognise his daughter?
No,
not at all.
She was a Grange Hill. She was a main player in Grange Hill for quite a few years.
Who did she play in that?
Another link to Grange Hill in this episode.
Yeah,
okay.
Lindy something. I can't remember her surname. But she wasn't just a minor player in Grange. She was like probably one of Trisha's friends in maybe later series, not necessarily series 1.
Okay. Well, yeah,
So,
I didn't notice that.
Well, come on, lads.
Yeah.
This is your time. This is your era's television, and I'm having to.
Yeah. I clearly wasn't paying enough attention.
It's got too many Star Wars links. I was getting too excited with Mr. Bronson or Admiral Ozzel. as he is in
Yeah.
Star Wars, and Bullman. So, it's too much.
So George sets Arthur up with Mr. Bronson, aka Elliot, and Nadim Sawalo's Sardi. He's Mr. Bronson. Okay, just keep on
We'll call him
thinking of
Mr.
it.
Bronson
Well,
because, yeah.
No, so he's quite. I mean, he's quite a character in this, isn't he? And I think he's really good. But I love some of the way he pronounces things, and it's like, carry a piece, carry a piece. He's just like, he's really. I think like often we've come across this in the episodes. Like he's enjoyed himself a lot. I think in this, isn't he? And
He is miscast, though. I mean,
Well,
it's
as a
like
villain.
nothing he's ever played. I mean, it's probably the closest to, in terms of villainy, his closest role is probably Star Wars.
yeah,
Well,
because
or Mr. Bronson, but you know
yeah,
what I mean.
because
Or Hitler.
because when
You could argue Hitler was a bit of
the
a
ult-
villain.
the ultimate villain, yeah. I mean, when Terry meets him, he says like a big boy like you needing a minder, and you don't get the impression of Mr. Bronson as being a big boy. Yeah, Mr. Bronson would need a minder. I mean, he could scare kids, but I don't think he could really scare anyone other than that. I don't
But he
think.
was in Orfida St. Pet as well, wasn't he? He was Herr Grimwald
Herr
in
Grimwald,
Orfida
yeah.
St. Pet.
Of course, yeah. But
Yeah,
no,
so
he's a good actor, isn't he? Was it Michael Sheard, his real name, rather than call him Mr. Bronson?
Yeah,
Yes,
it is a
yes,
bit
Michael
disrespectful to the late actor
Yeah.
Michael Sheard, Mr. Bronson, all the way through the podcast.
But incredibly, as an actor, incredibly typecast as a villain. And he played Hitler, is it 5 times? He played Himmler 3 times. He played the nasty man in Orvida St. Pet. He played the horrible teacher in Grange Hill. I mean, if you need a real hard nut in this episode of Minder, if you needed a man to be slightly menacing and, someone to intimidate and be scared of, you called in Mr. Bronson, didn't you? Michael Sheard, you get him in.
Yeah, I guess so.
But not
Yeah.
when he's handing out the punches. That's not very convincing.
No,
No.
it's psychological warfare he specialises
Yeah,
in.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Carry a piece. So they set up. So Arthur meets up with them, and then he meets Terry in the pub and sets him up with a meeting with him, doesn't he? Again, it's not the Winchester, unfortunately, this week, is it? So I don't know what pub they're in.
Yeah, there's a distinct lack of Dave
A distinct lack
in
of
the
Dave.
series so far, really. I mean, we haven't seen much of him. There's a very distinct lack of the Rycott or Chisholm. It's still in its early days. Hasn't found its full rhythm yet.
Embryonic,
Yes.
Good
embryo.
word. That is it's correct.
like this podcast.
Yeah. Yes. So Terry obviously thinks it's a bit dodgy, but Arthur insists it's going to be another easy couple of days, which has been every episode so far, isn't it? So far,
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, be easy, yeah, easy, quite a few days for you. But basically, I mean, we've had this before about like the more and more the villains are proper villains, aren't they? Like they're terrorists, basically, aren't they? That he's dealing with here. Arthur's got got them involved in something pretty dodgy, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, this is government-backed
Yeah.
terrorism. This is serious. This is serious stuff. And they're very keen that Terry doesn't have a gun.
Mm.
So they're setting him up. I'll just come and mind this banker. Won't be any problems. You don't need.
It's just for show, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, just make it. Yeah, he comes with requirements. He needs a manservant. He needs a minder and chauffeur. But that's it. It's just it's there for show. There's no real risk associated.
Yeah.
Terry
So
quite rightly smells a rat.
yes, he does.
Far more than Arthur in this one.
Yeah. So do you want to skip to the pickup of what's his
Sayin.
name? Bassam Sayin, played by Lee Montague. Now he's a familiar
Yes.
face.
Certainly is.
Yeah.
What do you remember seeing him in?
Well, I think we
Or
were
what do you
just.
most associate him with?
I think Seconds Out.
Yeah. It's just one of
Which-
those faces in everything. But Seconds Out, he's Robert Lindsay's manager. Seconds Out, great sitcom for early Robert Lindsay sitcom.
Yeah, I think you sent me the links to it a while ago, Pete. Because I told you about
Not if it was illegally uploaded. It wasn't me.
It's on the YouTubes. Yeah, it's on the
Oh,
YouTubes.
right.
You can get it on there.
Yes.
Horrible Lives.
Yeah.
He was his dad, was he, or his kind of father figure anyway? But he was in that.
I don't remember him being in that. I remember one of the cops from The Wire is in it, isn't he?
He? I'm rewatching The Wire at the moment, as well as Minder. See my
What's
other
the
podcast.
yeah? What's the copper called? Who's he's the one who basically is the sort of genius behind the wiretaps. Older man, mustache.
Clark Peters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
in Silver Dream Racer.
Is
He's in
he?
loads of British stuff. He's the pimp in Mona Lisa with Bob Hoskins.
Some good knowledge there, Pete. That's
Yeah.
some
Yeah,
deep
none
knowledge.
of it'll make me rich. Silver Dream Racer. It has a really bad ending, doesn't it?
It does.
That a sad ending.
Yeah, and then that's why I always thought, because it's his face, isn't it, when the bad ending happens? I'm sure he's like that kind of.
That's your Lee Montague impression. Nailed.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, so he's come from Jewish background, doesn't he? But he's playing an Arab here, which
Yeah, you could do that in those days.
you could do that. And I think
But
he's
that's
got a
what
lot.
an actor should be able to do. They should be able to play any
I
part.
think he got a lot of work playing foreigners, basically, didn't he? Even though
Yeah.
he was an East End boy, I think.
Hmm.
He only recently left us, didn't he?
Yeah, it was in 97 when he died, I think. When I was looking
Roughly
Yeah,
that,
the other day.
95, 96. So yeah,
But really a very good innings.
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. He's in an episode of The Sweeney, and I want to say it's called Collie Kibber, and it's an episode with Judy Matheson.
Oh yeah.
Friend of the
God
podcast.
Well, maybe. But yes, but he's arrived at the airport, hasn't he? And
Yes.
Terry goes to pick him up, and just wants to do it nice and professionally and quietly. But Arthur, as ever, has different.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have a foreign banker in town without Arthur want to taking 100 G's off him.
Yeah. And his effort of trying to meet him is terribly bad. It's like, bless my soul.
I'd go. It's up there with Arthur's worst attempts at trying to take money off someone. It is a really poor effort. He was much better by series 2. He'd worked everything out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we'll get to it maybe when we fully analyse. But I think this is a great Arthur episode. Actually, I think he's almost a bit surplus, and at times borders on the mildly annoying. But we'll come back.
And I'd say maybe slightly against character type. There's a couple of bits where you go, well, I'm not sure Arthur would, as we know and love Arthur, I'm not sure he'd react that way or do that.
If we skip slightly, not too far, but yeah, because there's the thing where he's the owner of the massage parlor, which doesn't right, does it? That's one. When I said that at the beginning, there's a few missteps. To me, that's one of them that doesn't sit right. Even though it is quite funny that the woman behind the counter hates him, which is quite funny.
And thinks he's a punter.
Yeah, which is yeah. And I'll get Terry on you. But he's not here, is he? Yeah. But yeah, that,
and he's got a big office as well. He's got a proper office in a nice plush place rather than the lockup. It's got a nice office.
That.
He owns a massage parlor. I say, and the way he reacts to a couple of things, it's clearly someone's been given a brief to write an episode without any knowledge of what's happening in other episodes or what's going on.
Yeah, I think you're right. It seems so that is a bit of a misstep, I think. But he wouldn't have known that, would he? Murray Smith, when he
I don't think it's the writer's fault.
I always I think, like, I was thinking about when he sat, because they wouldn't have seen any of the other episodes, would they, the writers? I mean, when they would, the first time they would have seen it is when they went out on TV. And I think when Gunfight at the OK Laundrette went out the first night, if he sat there watching it, he probably thought, well, I've smashed this. Because mine's better than that. It's funnier, and he probably thought he's absolutely nailed it. But then when the next 2 episodes gone out, he probably thought, maybe
it's a bit different.
it's not quite what I've done, but it's still good anyway.
Yeah, and saying
So
quality of scripts is great. It's just that when
yeah,
you
oh, it's
look at it
fantastic.
as a whole piece, it maybe
Yeah,
just sits slightly outside of it.
Because
yeah.
as we
So
know, Arthur is very soon he's a bit of a prude,
yes,
in the series of Minder. So the fact that he owns a sauna, and I think it's clear that it's a sauna that
yeah, it's a knocking shop.
diversifies. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then he engages the services of the lead woman at the sauna to
Yeah.
try and please the Arab.
And he seems
Essentially,
very, very familiar with Frankie as well, almost like they're having a little bit of an affair at one point when they're in the
flat
car
out.
together. There's sort of an insinuation that they're more than just business partners.
yeah.
And to be
So
fair, as we know, Andy, we are Arthur Daly's age when this went out. She's a very attractive young lady.
she is very attractive.
You cannot blame him. Maybe when we hit 54, we'll be turned into what Arthur's like in series 2 to 10.
Do you think you're going to become a prude? We'll find out.
Well, see, that'll be the
Stay
history of the
tuned, folks.
podcast.
So if we go back a little bit, when Terry gets Mr. Sayin back to the house and he hears a little bit of a ruckus and he barges in, and who's there?
Dwellen. There you go. I promised you my Welsh accent. So,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah. So, and Terry goes, "What are you doing here?" Now, I think there's a theory for you, and I wonder if you think this holds merit. I think there's a missing scene somewhere. So I think that we would have, in the script, or maybe they filmed it as well, that we've already met Llewellyn. I think he may have been in the pub before, in the pub scene. It's quite brief. And I am wondering
Yeah.
whether he was in the pub, because they set it up. And when Terry's walking round with Elliot, he was saying about, Mr. Daly's bringing a manservant. And when he
Yeah.
barges through the door, he goes, "What are you doing here?" As if like we'd already met him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm wondering
that
whether
sounds a pretty sound theory. And I'd have to go back and watch it again to get a view, but from memory, that sounds quite
I've looked
plausible.
online and no one's suggested it, but it just seems like it's a better joke if you've already met him. If you'd
Yeah.
been drunk in the pub, because he's clearly an alcoholic again, like
Yeah.
Scott Harry. And I think it would be
Again, it's a
funnier
theme.
if you'd already seen him earlier. And I'm thinking
Could
maybe
be onto
they,
something.
yeah, I think.
Definitely.
And also Terry's round is, I can't remember, it's £1.40 something, which, as you know, is like 50p a pint, and they're not drinking pints. So
Yeah.
maybe you'd already bought him a drink as well, and that's why it was a bit more expensive. That's just my theory.
I like the
that
sound
kind of
of
makes
that.
sense.
Because it's better, I think, if you'd already met him. But anyway, what
It
do
does,
we
yeah, because
think?
when that scene happens, it does feel quite strange when he says that. It doesn't feel like there's much continuity in it. And then you just go, well, I assume they know each other from somewhere else.
Yeah,
And-
exactly.
But yeah, it would make more sense if it had been built into the script.
It's just the way Terry says, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
more than like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
It's more like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah. I love it, though, that we've had one Scotsman, and he's an alcoholic, and we've had one Welshman, and he's an alcoholic. So as soon as you get a Celt in, and I'll tell you what, we'll put them on the booze. And, not just a little bit on the booze, we'll put them completely on the booze. So every time they're in a scene, they've got a bottle and a glass in hand, and they're trying to sneak a drink away.
Yeah. So are you a fan of Kenneth Griffith as Llewellyn?
Again, there's
think
some
he's
great
excellent.
there's some great moments in it. It is I really obviously there's the classic line of,
Yeah.
I'll let you
Well,
do it, and you do your Welsh first, and then I'll do mine.
What is he just, "Shoot us, Teddy! My God!"
That's not bad. I think I can do better than that. But that is a great line. So again,
I
full
think
merit to the script writer there,
Yeah.
unless Di did improvise it slightly. But it's a great line.
He's quite a good. I mean, he's a great actor. Do you remember he was in 4 Weddings and a Funeral, wasn't
Yeah.
he? And he did the classic. Was it Bride or
Charles
Groom?
Charles has been dead for.
Was that Bride or Groom? It should be perfectly obvious I'm neither.
He's one of
something
the
like-
wild geese.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that film.
Yeah.
Me too. It's like Dad's Army with machine guns, isn't it?
Anything with Richard Harris on it? That's another mention for Richard Harris. Got mentioned last week.
He did.
I watched a Richard Harris film on Sunday, one
Which
I'd
one?
never heard of, where he's basically a mobster. Wasn't very good.
Which one? What was that? What was that?
It's got two names. It's got a US title and a British title. Something like Charlie something or something like that.
Is this an 80s Harris movie?
He's
70s, okay.
Yeah.
So in his prime.
no good. I mean, yeah, we'll take this offline, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
We're drifting.
It wasn't
We're
that good.
drifting.
Yes. So Dwellen, he is good. I must, at the beginning you both said this episode gets better the more you watch it. I've kind of, at the risk of sort of appearing to be contrary, I'm kind of the opposite. I had watched it recently and I thought it was kind of all right. I found it a bit tedious, and there's some big stretches, like the bit where Di's just going on and on and on with Lee Montague. I found it did get a bit tedious. Although,
But when he's talking about what he wants, or when he's talking
yeah,
about
well, just when Di's doing his original pitch, like the first time we
Mm.
meet him in that scene that we've talked about.
yeah.
And then eventually he basically says, I don't want to be called Effendi or Sire or anything like that. And then he summarises it. There's a lot of words to remember
Mm.
for the actors. But hilariously, he does say, and no more Oriental sounding titles. And then he goes, your wish is my command.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were, the good thing about it is I think they just let them go, didn't they? Because when you think about this episode, that Kenneth Griffith and Lee Montague get a lot of screen time, don't they? A lot of words. As you say, like Arthur's slightly marginalised.
Yeah.
And Terry, I think there's a bit about you, which obviously I think they've cut. Terry keeps on asking what's going on, basically, doesn't he? He's like, why do you need a minder and stuff? And you never really get an answer. It's just like, and they just like, well, he's a Lebanese businessman. You don't need to know any more than that. And it's just, I've got some trouble in my country, and that kind of bit of the script has been just brushed over, isn't it? Really. Whereas I think nowadays you would get a whole backstory. Whereas this is, I guess it's 45 minutes, and it was the 70s, and it was just like Lebanon, everyone's dodgy, and all you have to say is a Lebanese businessman, and people know it's
trouble.
it's trouble.
That's like, in a sense, that's the backstory, isn't it? That just immediately sort of sets the tone. So Terry takes him back to the house, and we meet Di, and Di's obviously nicking all the cognac.
Yeah.
Then we've had Arthur at the massage parlor, as we've talked about, and then there's a development at the airport.
Yeah, I mean, I think the villains are basically just more villains arrive, don't they? Which basically terrorists, aren't they?
With the shooters?
Yeah, but yeah,
I've gone Geordie again now. I don't know what that was.
but I think it's I think they're a little bit one-dimensional, aren't they?
Some amazing haircuts.
Yes.
God, yes, amazing. Yeah, the haircuts are one-dimensional, but the characters are. But yeah, there's not really. Yeah, I can't.
So they're obviously the heavies have arrived, obviously with the express intention of taking out Lee Montague.
Yeah.
It all just feels like quite sort of drawn out. Like why have they had to fly in some? They've flown him in. Then it's kind of one of those episodes where at the end, like you've alluded to just there, Andy, I'm kind of none the wiser in terms of what's gone on. It's like they've flown him into a country to fly some other people into the country to kill him. Just none of it just makes that much sense to me.
No, it doesn't make any sense, because it's like, well, no, it doesn't, does it? I mean, that was what it's going to sum up at the end, but might as well do now. The whole thing doesn't make any sense, because they've arranged a bodyguard for him, but why did they just not arrange a bodyguard for him? Because he would have turned up at the airport and then there'd be no one there. What would he have done? Would he have gone straight home again? Probably not.
Yeah, he just got a cab to the hotel, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and then they whack him then. So yeah, it doesn't.
It's not real. That's what people are shouting at us now. It's not real.
But it's a 45-minute program which races along really, really well as far as the dialogue and everything goes. It's nicely paced, it's really well paced, and you shouldn't really overanalyze it. But then we might as well stop recording if we're not going to overanalyze it. So we are going to overanalyze it.
Yes, absolutely.
And then Arthur sent Frankie round to give
Yeah, yeah.
to
Turkish
give
delight.
a
There's-
bit of
there's-
Turkish
yeah.
delight.
It's-
And she gets all dressed up and she's ready to go. And Terry realised this is probably a bad idea and stops
Yeah.
anything happening.
I love the way the record, like, does he pull the 7-inch record out from under his shirt? Something
Yeah.
puts it on. Oh, this is unacceptable.
That was a bit Indian, that one, and I
Oh,
don't know.
sorry.
what it is.
Yeah. Stay clear of that. Don't want to get cancelled.
And Terry tells Di to stay off the gargle, which
Yeah.
is a lovely phrase for don't mess this up by being smashed all the time.
Yeah.
But mess up what? They don't know what it is, you know. It's yeah.
Yeah,
So
because they don't know what's going on at all, do they? And they keep on asking him, and he's not really giving them much.
But Terry's getting a sense that things aren't right and he's uncomfortable with the whole thing. And then we cut to a scene where Di's in the kitchen and suddenly he spots someone in the reflection of the cupboard
Yeah, he
with
does.
a shooter. And that's where we get the shooter line.
Yeah.
And he does a
Hey, you do it.
fantastic fake
It's worth doing
heart
again,
attack.
surely. You have a go.
shooters. Oh my God.
Shooters, Teddy! Oh my God!
but am I right in thinking that they'd left the back door open?
Yeah, because
Unlocked. I don't think it was open, but maybe
Either way.
unlocked. Yeah, it's not great security when
Yeah.
their
Thought
job is
Terry
to
had
look
cased-
after him.
Terry had cased the joint when he first got there.
He had, didn't he? Made sure all the locks were right, didn't he? Yeah. Yeah.
But it's an amazing bit of acting with the fake heart attack. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed that. And then, and to be honest, the three assassins who've come to get Lee Montague, absolutely hopeless. If you're going to fly in specialist terrorist killers with
Yeah.
machine guns, and they turn up and they're thrown off by a fake heart attack. So as they turn their back, Dwellen can get up, push him in the back and relock the door and squirt some washing up liquid at him. And he goes running off. And meanwhile, they come in the front, smash the front window and then, have guns. Terry manages to tackle them. Lee Montague throws a small coffee table at them. I mean, it's a really small coffee table.
Yeah.
And they get totally frazzled by this and freaked out. And they all just run away. And they've got guns. And no one
Yeah.
else has got a gun. And they're like, no, we got to go. And they sprint off into a speeding car and race away.
And they know he hasn't got a gun as well. It's not
Yeah.
like they think he might be armed. They've specifically hired him because they know he hasn't got a gun
Mm.
and he refuses to carry it.
Yeah, no shooters has been mentioned
Yeah.
about 15 times by this point, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Is that a sort of standard assassin's technique to jump through a full pane of glass?
I say because it was a flimsy bit of glass as well. I mean, obviously, double glazing wasn't as common in the late 70s as it is now. But yeah, it seemed very flimsy for quite a posh part of London. Old
didn't
Victorian
you
house, though.
show up?
So yeah,
Yeah.
could-
So then Mr. Bronson and
Well, before you move on, Andy, apologies. We have omitted to mention another brilliant Di Llewellyn moment when he goads them and shouts, "Yeah, that's right, boyos!" Like, run away rather than stand
Oh,
here and
yeah.
fight like men.
yeah, that's it. That's what he says, isn't it?
He's still got the washing up liquid in his hand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that is great. I forgot about that. Yeah, so then
yes, Mr. Bronson, what were you saying?
recently it turns up at Arthur's car lot. It's the first time we see the car lot, I think, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah,
Yes.
historic moment.
So I don't know how they knew to find him there because he's not at his massage parlor or his office. He's at his car lot. Arthur's great though when he goes, "No, you're annoyed. I can tell." But that's a bit of there's a strange cut, that, isn't it? Because it's the next day, isn't it?
Yes.
And Arthur hasn't sort of attempted to hide, I don't think. But
Yeah, and in the meantime, Terry and Di and Frank, well, they're all leaving, weren't they? And they were going to leave Lee Montague on his own.
Yeah.
But then Terry's character gets the better of him and he goes, "Oh, we can't leave him here." And they go back and then take him away and go and hide out in a pub.
And actually, one thing we have forgotten as well, when Arthur does realise it's turning dodgy, he does tell them to get out, doesn't he?
Yeah,
He
which
says,
again, it doesn't quite ring true. It's sort
Yeah,
of like,
that's
well,
the
you
bit.
know, no, get the money would be like a
Yeah,
future
exactly. I mean, he
rather
comes
than
back.
get yourself
Yeah,
out.
but yeah, he's just like, right, you get out of there, and that's even before the people with the guns have turned up. He says it first, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Says, get out of there. I'll tell George I need you on another job. Bring Di with you and get out of there.
Yeah.
Which,
What would the Arthur, as we come to know him in later episodes, what would his response be, do you think, to that phone call?
I think he'd want more certainty around that there were guns, because at this stage it's just there's just a feeling that there might be something slightly awry.
yeah.
And it's literally, it's just Terry's just his sixth sense is like, I'm not comfortable, and he's like, get yourselves out.
Yeah.
And it's like, there'd be no way he'd be giving up the money that
No, it'd be
easily.
like, we're on an earner here, Terry.
Yeah,
You know,
make sure, you know,
Make
do
sure.
what you can to make yourself safe,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, don't leave. It
Yeah.
would be,
give him a slap.
Or he'd equally dismiss kind of out of hand Terry's instinct
yes.
Yeah.
and just say like, oh, you know, what's the matter, Terry? It's a cold day indeed when you've lost your bottle, you know, to a few Arabs or whatever, something like, you know, offensive like that. Okay, so yeah, you're right. Arthur said get out, and then all kicks off, and then and they hold up in the pub, and then like you say, it's that strange thing where it's the next day,
Yeah.
and yeah, Arthur's just, I don't know what he's doing at the car lot, just cleaning the cars or something, and they
Yeah.
turn up and put the heavies on him.
Yeah.
And
they offer him
40
offer him
grand.
40 grand. Yeah, 40 grand.
Our notes are aligned, and 40 grand.
Yeah, carry on.
And then he gets on the phone to Terry and he says, "We've been offered 5 grand. Let's sort this
See,
out."
that's
So
Arthur.
this is proper Arthur. And then he goes, you know, and you can have 50% of that 5 grand. So yeah. And then when Terry's like, no, don't be ridiculous. He said, well, I might be able to push him to 8 grand. So it's still that is proper what we, you know, come to know and love of Arthur. That is
Yes.
very much in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, if Terry says like, no, listen, we need to get him to the airport or something, because at this point, and again, there's some sort of scenes which just seem a bit like, I don't know, like the sort of bonding between Dwellen and the Arab. I mean, it's you know, it's nice to watch, and there's some kind of sweet moments, but ultimately, we've never met either of these two people before. Like, so I think it's a big ask of us, the viewer, to like give that much of a shit sort of thing.
Yeah, because he says to him, doesn't he, that he'll send for him. He'll send for Dwellen to go and work with him in Lebanon and stuff. And
Yeah, and they've only been together for a day.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you're saying
And he's been drunk throughout it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But they do get a lot of screen time, don't they? The two of them.
yeah. I'm not sure how an alcoholic Welshman would have got on in that part of the world at that time.
He may have struggled. I'm not sure he was overly keen to go either, was he? To be fair, yeah.
But as Mr. Bronson, he double crosses Arthur.
Yeah, he
and
does.
And cheats him a little bit, and gets the address of the pub, and makes Arthur drive there in a van.
Yeah.
And Arthur says, "You're not a nice man. You're not a nice man at all."
Yeah, because he's taking a whack, isn't he? They've punched him as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
give him one in the solar plexus.
Yeah, so he's and it's quite a good bit of acting actually from George Cole. He's scared, sweating thing looks quite genuine, doesn't it?
That's really good. I think this is when the episode gets really good. I think. So that sort of final 10 minutes, I really it. And there's several scenes that I think are absolutely spot on and a top end minder. I think we've had bits of clips beforehand which are enjoyable, but overall there's something that doesn't make it one of my sort of, you know, best episodes. But the final 10 minutes I think are really good, even if there's a little bit of almost slapstick put in there. And remarkable coincidence, you could argue, with some of the script writing. But I think that Arthur or George Cole's acting when he's sitting in the van with a man with a gun at his back and he's sweating profusely and he just looks so scared, I think is absolutely top quality.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a theory on this one though, Mark. He's sweating not because the man's got a machine gun sort of pointed at his back. He's just worried that somebody will see him with this man with such a terrible haircut. And that's
This is the worst haircut I'm possibly ever on telly. It's absolutely a remarkable Barnet. It's sensational. And it has, for anyone who hasn't seen it on the YouTubes yet, you've got to go and look at this man's haircut. It makes Cliff Thorburn look like he's got a skinhead.
Yeah, we'll have to share a picture of him, won't we?
it's
I
boo
think.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Or boo fantastic. So it might be worth, I think, just kind of for this final 10 minutes that you've talked about, just us quickly sort of talking through how it all unfolds, and then we can maybe reflect on it, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so you got Lee Montague and Di Llewellyn up in the pub with Terry. Terry's waiting for a signal from Arthur to say that it's okay, and Arthur's sitting in the van with the terrorist at his back, and Terry then comes out, leaves Di and Lee Montague in the pub, and comes over to Arthur just to check that everything is clear. And as he gets to Arthur, I say profusely sweating. I mean, really, really sweating.
Yeah, and he says you
But
don't look well.
Yeah. And he says, sort of, please get in the car, please get in the van, please get in the van.
Yeah, and he
And
calls him
Terry-
Terrence, doesn't he?
Yes. And you can, Terry looks at him and goes,
Yeah.
something's not quite right. But
Yeah.
he does get in the van, and then the machine gun goes into Terry's side. And they're like, okay, this is serious stuff now. But they do the signal that they've agreed with Di and Lee Montague. They've done the indicator on the van, and they pull out slowly. So then the two of them are ready to come down from the pub and come and join them in the van so they can make their getaway to the airport. At this point, a big police van appears opposite, full of bobbies on the beat. Terry and Arthur see this as an opportunity to drive directly into them, to having a proper comedy caper crash in the middle of the street. And you've got all the Mr. Bronson and his other terrorists all lining the streets, just keeping a view.
They're on
And
different
it's-
corners, aren't they?
Yeah, and suddenly you've got police everywhere. So a remarkable bit of good fortune that a police van happened to be coming down the street opposite them as they pulled out.
They got form for this, though, haven't they? Because in the first episode, as soon as the bag of money goes through the window, the police are there.
The police are there.
instantly,
They're on the
aren't they?
scene. As I
Straight
say,
away.
different times, the police were far better funded. They were everywhere at the
They
time.
were just driving around mob-handed in Black Mariahs.
But that moment, and you're right, in a sense, it's a bit, on one hand, too coincidental, sort of, but equally, there is I think what adds to the electricity of this last 10 minutes that you've sort of mentioned is Waterman and Cole, they're looking at each other. And I think Arthur's reaction is, oh, shit, coppers, how we're going to do this. And then Terry says, yeah, I think you've got room, when they clearly haven't got room, because
Yeah.
there's no room. And Arthur says, are you sure? He says, yeah, defo. And it was, it's just talking to you now. There's almost a kind of Newman and Redford feel to that
Yeah.
moment. And they're like, you think we can make
Or
it?
Thelma and Louise
Yeah, exactly.
later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they smash into the car, and then obviously Terry says, oh, dear me, that's a bit of bad luck, a load of coppers, so you have to keep your head down. Yeah, a good moment, definitely.
Yeah, and there's a nice exchange between Terry and the policeman. They say, like, you just be aware, we've got a bit of trouble here. We've got shooters everywhere, got a
Yeah.
gunman in the back, and they're very good, the police, actually. And in this instance, they're right on it. They have the right men on the job in the back of that van.
Yeah.
They're ready to tackle all these.
And they got a whistle as well.
It's a really good whistle.
Yeah,
It is a
he
really
plays
good
the whistle, doesn't he? And they
Yeah.
all leg it.
Do you not think the policeman, basically Terry says, shooters everywhere, Middle Eastern terrorists, there's one in the back of the van. The fact that the policeman just says, Yeah, okay, right,
Yeah.
what? Which,
To
which
be
one
fair,
is it?
if he'd
Yeah.
seen George Cole sweating as much as he was, then I'd have believed him. But yeah, when I sort of went with it the first time I watched it, when I went back and watched it, I was like, I'm not sure. If I was a policeman, I'm going to believe that someone's just driven into my police van, and
Yeah.
now you're claiming you've got terrorists. We're surrounded by terrorists at every corner of the street and in the van. I think it sounds a little bit
Yeah, I
shady.
think
So
they would have been.
I'd have probably questioned it a little bit more. But I say now it leads to the great running down the road scene as Nadeem Sawala sets off in his terrible jog, and Terry sets off after him. Yeah, so it's a mixture between, say, Train Spotting and then it's a little bit Get Carter as well. It's just got that slight feel to it. Particularly, obviously, that was on a massive steelworks or whatever, whereas this is on a children's playground almost. But
Yeah.
you know, there are different levels, and clearly, you know, Nadeem Sawala is not up to fighting a semi-professional boxer.
And all these top assassins as well, with all their shooters, they seem to give up pretty easily as well. And just one of them gets done by a bin, I think, isn't it? They've all got machine guns. Why aren't they not using them?
Quick question for you, though. Why is it doesn't make? Sorry, I know I'm like the annoying one this week who's kind of
This
pulling the
week?
episode to bits. Oh, very good. Dramatically, why is it Nadeem Sawala that Terry, like, obviously he makes a run for it and Terry is desperate to make sure he doesn't get away. The reality is he's had barely any involvement with any of those people other than Mr. Bronson. Sorry, the late actor Michael Sheen. So it kind of, there's not really a sort of a dramatic payoff there, is there? Like, there's not really anything particularly, there's no investment there as to why Terry must get that man, like, for him or for us as a viewer.
So he was in the original meeting with Mr. Bronson, wasn't he? But as a peripheral character, so he would have seen him. But I'd say it's a little bit of a stretch for him to realise, okay, the police have not taken care of this one of the terrorists.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and get him.
My understanding was that he was the main man, that he was the one who'd organised it.
Yeah, but Terry wouldn't necessarily know that.
Terry wouldn't know that. No, he wouldn't know, would he?
Yeah. And he makes the jibe about diplomatic immunity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he'd met with Mr. Bronson, the late actor Michael Sheen. And
you boy.
That's the best impression of the day.
Yeah, so but no, you're right. He wouldn't necessarily. Yeah, but I guess he just saw him running, and he didn't have a machine gun.
Yeah.
If you were going to chase one of them,
very good one.
I'd rather not chase one with a machine gun.
And for early Minder, it's quite a light duffing up of him, isn't it? It's not a proper. I mean, as you'd expect, it doesn't take much for him to put him down, but it's not there's normally more of a bit of a fight in early Minder. There's a bit more aggro. It is literally one little punch and he's gone, and then he's carrying him back.
I mean, he looked fairly old then, but he's still with us, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he didn't look young. I mean, he must
25.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how old he was, but
well, his daughters are in their 50s now, I suppose. So maybe he's mid-80.
Oh, he must be in his 80s. Must be.
Yeah.
But very successful. He's in everything, isn't he? He's been in absolutely, just loads of films, loads of TV series.
Love Me.
Yeah, he did 2 James Bond films, didn't he? I think.
What's the other one?
Oh, I'm going to say The Living Daylights. I may be wrong, but yeah, I think he's playing. Don't use the word token, but he's in those situations. He's playing an Arab or an Indian or.
Yeah, I think he said that he got a lot of work like he sort of learned to do Indian accents because he got a lot of work as Indians, even though he wasn't Indian. But yeah, I think he offered.
He's in a classic Sweeney episode called Visiting. I think it's Visiting Fireman. And actually, it's, without sounding all pompous, as is my want, it's a really quality bit of writing and a bit of acting from him. He's not just playing the sort of, like you say, token dodgy Arab businessman or dodgy Arab politician. He's kind of he's almost he's like a new sidekick for Regan. It works really well. So
was he required to run?
No, but there is a scene where I can't remember the circumstances, but it's him and John Thor in an abandoned sort of waste ground as per, and there's a helicopter and Regan's going, up yours. But I can't remember why, but yeah, good. One of, well, they're all great, but definitely one of the best episodes of the Sweeney. So this little firm all get banged up. Terry continues to banter with the policeman. I find this a bit grating, actually. I don't
It's
find
poor.
it.
It's
Yeah,
bad when he comes back with Nadeem Sawala on his shoulder and he
Yeah.
does the sort of, oh, what is it? Get off, get off. I don't
Yeah.
like that bit. That doesn't sit very well. And then
No.
he goes into text speak, doesn't he? He goes, I gave him the old MEW. And he's like, MEW? What's that? Yeah, Myland Wallop.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah. That isn't.
but it's quite forward thinking as to,
yeah.
abbreviating everything, but it's something I'd never heard of at the time. I've never heard of it since. It's only referenced in this episode as far as
Yes.
I'm aware. And
And it's-
Marland Wallop is not a famous saying that I've come
No.
across.
And
I'm
it's-
not too keen on that bit.
Yeah, I think it's meant to be hilarious. I think it's just another, to use that word you use, Andy, just another misstep.
But the last 10 minutes is great. That's a little bit in it that's not good.
Yeah.
But the overall, the last 10 minutes, I think, is a really good bit of
and al-
TV from that time.
Excuse me. Also, I think
You all right?
yeah,
I thought
I'm
you were
fine.
I thought you were up or something.
Was that a Dwellen fake heart attack?
Yeah.
Shooters! Oh my God!
Shooter. So yeah, no, the payoff is quite good as well, because the last couple of weeks were pretty much the same payoff, weren't
Yeah.
they? Whereas this one, they take him to the airport because he's on a false passport, so they don't want to go
Yes.
to the police station. And Arthur says, "Dodgy character you turned out to be."
It's also great that the police just let them, don't worry about it, we're not
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
you all down the police station. You just all drive off and we'll see you down the police station later.
Yeah.
Again, seems a little bit far-fetched.
But
But
yeah,
Terry's wowed them with his repartee and like his
Yes.
humour and charm. So they,
yeah.
but they just let him crack on.
But a few weeks ago, they assumed he was one of the robbers in the first
Yeah.
episode, didn't they? So this a much nicer bunch of policemen who
Yes.
took him for his word. But yeah, they take him to the airport and they send him on his way. And the three of them are sort of the best friends by the end of it, aren't they? And
Mm.
Yes.
Lee Montague gives them both a check for £1,000 each, which they're very pleased with.
Possibly more for Terry. I think that's the suggestion.
How is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
okay.
Di gets 1,000 and then he looks at Terry's and Terry hides it from him.
Oh, okay. But there was no need because Arthur swipes them both, doesn't he? And said, "That'll
Yeah.
cover my costs and the van," and
Yeah.
they've lost the money. And they're like,
And he gets
"But-
he gets I was getting a parking fine, or I'm getting a fine for smashing into the police
yeah,
van.
yeah. What
Yeah.
did they call? Yeah.
Yeah,
They're reckless driving or something, didn't they? I think it'd been done for reckless driving, and yeah,
So-
that's
And
pretty
that's
much
that.
pretty much it, I think. So, what do we reckon? Marks out
Before
of
we
10.
get to that, Andy,
Go on.
get to that, did anybody notice anything at one of the later airport scene?
Twa.
Yeah.
I did think of TWA. I thought, Twa, you idiot. It's TWA.
It's the same woman.
Is
It's the
it?
same woman as well. And she's in
Okay.
quite a few things, isn't she? She's been in quite a few things.
She recognises.
It's quite familiar. Eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I didn't recognise her
No.
this week.
It's definitely her. So I do. I don't think they filmed various ones on the go, to be fair, but it's like curious that they have brought her back to the presumably the exact same place where they filmed before. But yeah, it's
But
definitely her.
But it actually looks like an airport, though, this one, doesn't it?
I don't think it is, isn't it? I think it's a hotel outside the airport. So I think you can see, well, I was looking and you can see sort of Heathrow with the fencing behind it, but they're not actually in the airport. They're sort of in a hotel
Okay.
outside of the airport. So, and I think I saw online on maybe minder.org when they were doing their shout out to a great website, minder.org. But
Really?
Absolutely.
when they were doing the locations, and I think someone had it as a hotel, just a hotel at Heathrow, but a hotel just outside.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, good spot that. I'll have to have another look. Didn't spot that.
Well, I needed to feel like I was adding something to proceedings because you two come armed with Not shoot. Well, you come armed with shooters of trivia and
My
information.
God! But you
Those shooters. Yeah.
but you're clearly more observant because you're spotting grain chill people and you're spotting.
I've always been good with stuff like that. It's but like I say, it'll never make me rich, so never mind.
You never know. You never
So
know.
one thing for me in this one, saying Jenny Lee Wright, who plays
Oh.
Frankie. Oh, hello, we've got
got a
some.
Yeah, you can say
I
it.
was going to be inappropriate. I'm not going to be inappropriate. We've got, just as I was mentioning Jenny Lee Wright as well. But so we've got Jenny Lee Wright as Frankie, who I think is brilliant in this episode, and I think she should have been in it more. She's not in it. She's not in it ever again.
Yeah.
I think she could have been a really good foil for Arthur in the series, and I think it's a real shame she doesn't make another appearance. I think she's great in this. Find her very attractive as well. It's a good spot.
What do we know about her, Mark? Do we know anything about her?
I've done some research.
I thought you might have. Frantic.
She was, so me and Andy live in sort of the Cheam, Belmont, Sutton area of Greater London, Surrey, and which was the home of Lionel Blair in Banstead, which is just up the road. And he was and Jenny Lee Wright was in the Lionel Blair Dancers originally. And she was also she was very much a regular in the Benny Hill show. So being chased by Bob Todd and Benny Hill, I assume, throughout most of her career. And then she became a sound effect artist later on.
Okay.
Or a Foley artist, as they're known in the business.
I think
Which is something that Google has taught me this week.
So talking
she's
of
good. She's very good.
she is. So talking of people coming back, what about Kenneth Griffith? Do you think that he could have made another appearance?
Definitely. I think, and so I assume we'll come to the Hall of Fame, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I don't think he should go in, is at this stage. I'm going to vote no.
Okay.
But if he'd come back for more than one episode, then I think you would definitely put him in. But I'm not sure, because we're trying to set a high bar for the Hall of Fame.
I think,
and I'm not sure he quite makes that high bar. He could make the quote Hall of Fame, I think, but in terms of character Hall of Fame, I probably would have put him in. But again, I agree, he should probably have come back for more episodes.
So, I mean, this is the only episode that Murray Smith wrote as well, which is unusual that you only did one. Most of the people did more than one. And he only did one episode. And I think however far I move this cat away, it keeps on coming back.
Strong Blofeld vibes going on here.
It is.
You have been likened to Donald Pleasance before, haven't you?
I have, yeah. And I think if Murray Smith had written an episode in series 2, he probably would have brought back Di, do you think? And then we would have seen him again. Whereas because he didn't write any more, like for example, the guy that wrote Bury My Half Waltham Green writes an episode in series 2 and brings back the same characters. And there's possible that he may have done that, but because he didn't write another one, Di disappears with him, which is a shame because I think he could have been a more regular character. Yeah,
the character's got legs, so they should definitely made a comeback. And Frankie, we should have had Frankie and Di could have come back for much comic effect, I think.
But maybe Di, like Arthur, kind of turns more into a Di, doesn't he? You can imagine Arthur shouting,
"Oh my
Terry.
God!" He takes his line, doesn't he?
Oh
he takes
God.
the "Oh my God!"
Shoot Terry. So you can see maybe Arthur develops more into that kind of character anyway. So they probably thought they didn't need him, possibly.
I think also, and maybe this wasn't the case as early doors, but ultimately, certainly from if you think about Dennis Waterman, hot off the Sweeney, and this was a vehicle for him. I think as time went on, him and George Cole definitely had a say in which writers and directors to bring back and so forth. I think it's fairly likely that they probably had a feel that this wasn't quite where the series needed to go or didn't quite hit the mark. In all honesty, I don't think it's. I think this is. From the early years, I think this is like a medium episode. It's definitely not dreadful, and there's enough in there to make it watchable. But in fairness, in the early years, and I mean, like most of the Waterman years, it is a really high bar in terms of quality of episode. So by me saying I think this is kind of mid-table, Doesn't mean it's terrible by any stretch, but I don't think it's quite up there. And I think it is just reflective of a show that hasn't quite found its feet yet. So yeah, I don't personally. I don't think it's great.
Out of 10,
I'm gonna go 5.
what do you think?
Well, I say when I first watched it, I put 6, and I watched it again, and I put 7. We introduced halves last week, didn't we? I'd go 6.5. 6.5.
Okay, that's interesting. I think I said at the beginning, I think it's actually a really good script. I think maybe it's not a Minder script, but I think it's, it gets a lot done in 45 minutes and it's entertaining. It's probably not got the great lines other than the one we've constantly said over and over.
Have we?
Yeah. But I think that maybe that's the thing. There's that one great line, and that's the one you remember. You don't necessarily remember any others. So I think I'm going to be a bit more generous because I think it is a really good script. I'm going to say 7.
Okay.
And do we agree no one in the Hall of Fame from this one, or do we have a vote for Llewellyn?
I would
Go on, Andy.
No, I would. I think he could. I think maybe what you actually said is hit the nail on the head. If he'd come back, then I think, like Scott Cherry does, I think you may think of him more kindly. It's almost, maybe we do need to do best lines or something at some point, and that would be well up there. But yeah, maybe we won't put him in and see what other people think.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's an outcry, certainly, I certainly wouldn't mind him being in.
Yeah, I think he's a borderline, isn't he? He's borderline. If he went in, I wouldn't be disappointed. But I think if he's setting a high bar at this stage, we're keeping him out. We may revisit. But
If you think we're wrong out there, let us know, and we may reconsider.
Oh, where would people do that, Andy? Just quickly recap.
So we are on Twitter, or X, as some people like to call it. I still refuse to. At On the Slate Pod, at On the Slate, and we're on Facebook, I believe. That's something you saw that out, haven't you?
Good to.
Yeah, and hopefully other platforms soon too.
So Twitter, essentially.
At the moment, and I think if once we get we get going, we can have polls and things, and we can let people decide potentially whether Llewellyn goes in the Hall of Fame.
And
I mean, it's not going to be a physical. It's not going to be a physical building. We're not going to actually build one. It's.
Stop. Are we not? Thought that was the plan.
Okay, well, depends on advertising revenue coming in, doesn't it? Really,
I've got high hopes.
There's one other big thing we haven't mentioned about writer Murray Smith that he did write.
Go on then.
For the legend that is Robin Asquith. He
Right.
wrote.
Stop right there.
Asquith. Sorry, we're supposed to have a drink every time. Asquith.
Oh, did he do Cooler Carol?
He did. He was the writer of Call It Carol.
Yeah, and you will recognise the name. Yeah.
Was he really?
Yeah.
There you go.
So would it be considered a high bar of the British sexploitation movies of the early 70s? Or I assume it fits into that genre. But
Yes, definitely.
So he's the writer of that, which is considered a good movie, I believe.
It is good. I stand by Cooler Carol to the death. Might come sooner than I realise. But so all right, yeah, I knew I recognised the name. Thank you. That had passed me by.
There you go.
So, Mark, have we got any sort of pop culture trivia?
Pop culture, a couple of things. We mentioned the specials, A Message to You, Rudy, had entered the charts at number 10, or had made the top 10, and that was its highest position it made last week. It dropped out this week, but it was replaced by One Step Beyond by Madness. So again, another classic of its era that has stood the test of time. So so that's the big change in the top 10. Otherwise, it's still Queen, The Jam, Doctor Hook, Laura Mantell. It's pretty much as it was.
Laura's hanging on.
She's hanging on. I think she's down to number 5 now, but she's hanging on. But there was another show which had a big influence on school kids at the time that made its UK debut this week. And that was the Japanese martial arts program, Monkey.
I always thought it was earlier than this,
Yeah.
Okay.
So made its debut this week.
Had it been made earlier, like over there?
I'm not sure how much earlier. Yeah, so it led to loads of kids running around school doing Pigsy, impressions and going monkey for years. So it was very influential on the school kids of the late 70s, early 80s.
There you go. Another great impression. It's been full of them today.
How many nationalities have we offended today?
Pretty much all of them.
Five. If you include in the Scots and the Welsh as separate nationalities, or the Celts, we call them the Celts. I don't know if that offends them again, but I say, as Andy is part Scottish and I'm part Welsh, then we can't offend them, can we?
I'm not sure it works like that, but anyway, I take your point.
Right.
I think that concludes business,
I
gentlemen.
think it does, yeah.
It's been
It's just up to you out there to tell us what you think. This is what we thought. Not a big thumbs up today from everyone. It was a kind of a middling. So tell us what you think. So say we're on at the Slate. No, we're not. We're at On the Slate Pod. At On the Slate Pod. And Facebook and all those kind of things. So let us know what you think. Remember, kids, never pay for a round of drinks. Always stick it on the slate.
Hey.
See you next time.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys. See you
everybody.
later. Bye.
Bye.